What up? I'm B, and welcome to my channel where we talk about all things YouTube drama and current events. Hope you're having a great Thursday today and you are ready to continue our conversation about mostly Angelika Oles, but a little bit about Smokey Glow because we will be going over her apology and kind of some of the responses as well. So, as always, we're going to give people just a few minutes to come in, get acquainted, get settled, and then we will get started with the remainder of the conversation. All right, we've got Kona in here. Hi, Kona. We've got Hila Tuvin. I'm so sorry if that's not how I pronounce your name. Let me know. But you said, hi, this will be my second live. I'm so excited. I'm glad to have you in here. Got Jordan, Jen, Courtney, Potato McGee. Hi, you guys. Hi, Tammy. Hi, Kiki. Yeehaw. I've been looking forward to this so much. Yay, I'm glad you're able to make it. Got Rosa, Soaring Kite, Kara. Tanzanim said, hi, this is the first live I'm catching. Well, hello. I'm so glad it's your first one and that you were able to make it and hang out with us. So, hi, Dark Lily. Hi, Phyllis. Okay, let's go ahead and let me know something that you are looking forward to in the next week, something that's coming up that's going to be exciting for you. For me, what is it? What's coming up for me that I'm excited about? Oh, my husband has tomorrow off, and so I also have tomorrow off, and we're going to be able to hang out together. So that'll be very fun for me and for him. All right. Hi, Sinead. Rosa said, I'm going to be done with school for the semester. Oh, that's such a relief. I remember when I was in college, like, just that first day, all of your finals are done. Like, you've turned everything in. You just get to relax. Oh, my gosh. Hila Tuvin said, my name is Finnish and Norwegian, so it's hard to pronounce in English. Well, I'm sorry. I hope I am not butchering it too badly. Kiki said, it's the end of my finals week. I'm very excited to have a break from online classes. Oh my gosh. I remember 1 year in college, I was doing both community college and university at the same time. And so I had both of those going, and then I had summer semester and I took accelerated classes, and then I had both of them again the following semester. And in December, when all that was done, I was just like, it's like the biggest sigh of relief. Boo! Oscar said I'm at work, but I wanted to say hey. I'm sad you can't hang out with us, but also hi. Thanks for popping in. Kona said, I ordered new paints yesterday. I felt really guilty for spending the money, but that means I can stop avoiding using up the rest of certain colors. I get it. I'm somebody who I don't really love spending a ton of money on certain things, and so I always begrudgingly do it, but you deserve to have things that you want, so I'm glad that you ended up getting them, and hopefully you can put them to good use. Courtney said, excited to be having breakfast for dinner tonight. Yum. Uli said, my sister is coming up for Christmas after quarantining, and I haven't seen her in like 3 months. Yay! You get to see your sister. Some of you guys are asking if you're late or if you missed a lot. No, we are just starting. We're getting kind of our beginning ritual completed right now, and then we'll be getting started in a few minutes. All right. Olive Thunderbird said, yay, we just got a foot of snow and my dog is so happy. Yay. Hi, Kaylin. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Caesar. Hi, Chosen Life. Hi, you guys. Okay. Let's do a few more. Hila Tubin said, I'm getting a Stevie Nicks inspired haircut tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to that. Also, your pronunciation isn't too bad. Thank you for being kind about it. But also, that's awesome. I love Stevie Nicks. My last car was named Stevie, but I traded her in, so she's gone. Caesar said, today I cleaned a bunch of rabbit cages. They were gross and smelly, but the bunnies appreciated it. I'm sure they really did appreciate it. Emily said, Kona, I just got paint too. I felt guilty, but then I remembered I have nothing better to do while sitting at home, so might as well let myself be creative. Absolutely. Madison said, this is the last one I'll read. I just did my win for the week. I cut my son's hair and my hair. I love it. And he's happy with his new haircut too. That is so awesome. When you cut your hair, have you cut your own hair before? Like, are you skilled in it, or was this like a new time, like a first time venture for you? Lexi said, I'm so excited to hear more of your thoughts on this topic. I feel like it's important to discuss performative activism and how white people advocate for BIPOC issues. Absolutely. Like, it needs to be talked about more. And I feel like when stuff kind of like this happens, like, when you're seeing some things from the outside, or when it doesn't really affect you to talk about those things, it's easier to put your voice out there. But then when it comes to actual communities that you're involved in, it kind of shows really some people's true intentions, I think. You know, it's like when you had a bunch of creators over the summer sharing things about the Black Lives Matter movement and like putting up those black squares and doing that kind of stuff. It's like it didn't really take anything for them to do that, if that makes sense. And I don't want to say anybody was talking about it with bad intentions or like didn't have their heart in it, but it didn't cost them anything to do that. It didn't cost them anything to like post about it, and they would be like, oh, well, I lost this many followers, goodbye, like don't let the door hit your butt on the way out. But like we saw in Swoop's video, a lot of people who who posted stuff like that overall gained more subscribers. And so that's one thing. But then when it comes to issues actually in your community and people calling you out for your own behavior, you have to talk about it. Cassie said, my puppy is finally potty trained and I love being able to let him out into the backyard and not have to run through the snow. That's awesome. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. In my description box, I do still have that. It's called Commentary Playlist of Black people speaking about this issue with Angelika. I've added a few other videos from your suggestions, but again, if you have any more, let me know and I will put them on there. Carson said, should I watch part 1 or will I be okay? Part 1, I'll let you make your own decision based on what you've seen so far. So part 1, I kind of went over the actual background issues that led up to this. So the things that Angelika actually did that people were upset about. And then we got through about half of her apology. So we have the other half of her apology to go, as well as Smokey Glow's video. So if you've seen both of those, you're probably good to not watch part 1. Like, you can probably hang out with us. And I mean, you can always hang out with us, but you might be okay and not lost is what I mean if you stayed in this video. But part 1 actually goes over like the series of events. So up to you. You might be a little bit lost if you haven't seen those things. It's just really your discretion. Lexi said, absolutely, as well as a tendency for people to listen to white advocates versus actual BIPOC. Not saying white people can't be advocates, just who generally gets audience support. Yeah, exactly. Olive Thunderbird said, I've spent all day watching Black creators talk about this. Have any big channels covered it at all? Not that I've seen. I mean, I'm trying to think. I think it's pretty much like medium to small creators talking about it. Obviously, like Nick Snyder talked about it, but he was basically just kind of dragging Hannah from Smokey Glow, so not like giving the actual details of the accusations. I think one of the bigger channels I saw talk about it, I can't remember if I added her video or not, is The Sovereign. She has like 43,000 subscribers, I think. And I watched a few of her videos on Hater Nation. Somebody recommended me to add her video on the situation to the playlist, but I didn't get a chance to watch it yet, so I don't know if I added it or not. But I think that's probably the biggest person I've seen so far. Hopefully more people will talk about it. Okay, so let's go ahead. Where we left off was with her kind of giving her explanation for the Twitch stream and how it didn't really make sense too much, but in any case, we're about to move on to her addressing Smokey Glow. So let's go ahead and pop into it. Madison said, and I would also catch up and watch Diana's apology videos as well after this live. It's not my apology to accept. By reading the comments, it seems it was well received and accepted. Yeah, I also have a little part on that we're going to discuss as well. So in Angelika's apology video, she felt that Smokey had addressed this without her knowledge and without waiting for her to respond to Smokey Glow, because obviously she'd reached out and been like, I think there's more to this. What's actually going on? And when Angelika was sleeping, obviously she couldn't respond, and Hannah felt like she needed to put information out there and actually respond to what was happening. And then she moved on to how she was particularly upset about the accusations about her misgendering people, since the accusations were coming without proof. And this is kind of something that I've seen most people, I don't want to say be on the same page about, but most people have heard the accusations but haven't really been presented with evidence. And so what Angelika basically said was the accusations, according to her, were coming from two separate anecdotal experiences. One was there was a YouTube account called Broke Girl with a meme as their profile photo who claimed that Angelika had misgendered them in a video, but when people asked that person for a link to this happening, they got nothing in response. And then the other was a Twitter account that was actually started in July of this year with no followers that claimed Angelika had misgendered them and refused to apologize. She also said that there was another accusation of her saying the trans rights movement was taking away from the women's rights movement on a YouTube live stream. And she said, I didn't say that, because her first explanation for it was, I've done probably 3 live streams. I can remember every live stream I've done. I don't remember saying that. And then the other explanation for it was, also, I'm not transphobic, so those words wouldn't come out of my mouth. Now, I've looked around. I've tried to find people's videos. I haven't seen any sort of I don't want to say proof. I don't like the word proof, but it seems that these accusations were made, but when they're coming from kind of anonymous accounts, it is a little bit hard to discern if we're just going to take it and say, well, this is your experience, so we believe you, when they don't, I don't want to say show their face or show something to back up their claim, but you also don't want to take something and run with it if it isn't true. And when you have anonymous accounts that are like memes or animations as their profile pictures, it is easy to make accusations because you don't have to back it up. If your face isn't on that account, no one knows who it is. Nobody knows that it's you. So that was her explanation for it. And I'm going to see what some of you guys are saying. Okay, you guys are talking about how we're just getting into it. Lexi said, will you be sharing your opinions on the general discourse of this drama, being a lot of defensive and deflective rhetoric over the creator's feelings? In my opinion, the feelings that haven't been validated or discussed are the BIPOC who were hurt. Yeah, we talked about that kind of. I don't know if you caught the first part, but I kind of talked about how it's like, okay, this is a discussion over whether Smokey Glow is a bad friend or not, as opposed to the discussion of how Angelika handled this and the people who were actually hurt. And I think that one is more important than the other. I think the people who were hurt are more important. So we talked about it a little bit, but I do also have some additional notes. Really, the main part for me, I guess I probably should have said this in the beginning, was I am obviously not part of the BIPOC community, so my community wasn't silenced by Angelika. Angelika was blocking people who were trying to educate her, trying to explain it to her, and they were the ones who were hurt. So for me, I put that commentary playlist of Black and people of color creators talking about it in a commentary way, and while I am a commentary channel, I figure I will let them speak for themselves, and that's why I put the playlist in there. This is more kind of going over the order of events for people who are a little bit lost. So not too much of my opinion. I'll throw it in there every now and then, but mostly just what they said from their own perspective and what other people have said about it. Kona said, I don't remember AO making transphobic comments. I remember her liking a tweet that could be misinterpreted as transphobic. Oh. I didn't see did I see the tweet? I'm trying to remember, because I remember somebody saying something about a tweet, but I can't remember exactly what it said. So, back to her video, though, she, said, I didn't say it, and that's not something that would come out of my mouth because I'm not transphobic. And then she moves on to address the accusations that she was being anti-Semitic. And she said that she's Poland, or she's Polish, and she's from Poland. And so since Polish people were put into concentration camps, it wouldn't make sense for her to be anti-Semitic. And when I first watched her apology video, I had no idea. I didn't hear anything about anti-Semitic claims, so I was kind of confused, and I kind of wish she had explained more about where that was coming from, because she explained the Kylie situation, the Dixie situation, and then the transphobic accusations. Like, she went and explained all of them, but she didn't explain anything about why she was being accused of that. And I feel like that is very dismissive to the people who were upset, because basically what I've learned is from a video done by Jessie Quinn. I have also linked that in my description box, but Jessie explained that kind of this accusation is coming from a video that Angelika did, where she was talking about the Eva Stories project that was going on Snapchat. And so basically, this is from a news article, and it says, if we want to bring the memory of the Holocaust to the young generation, we have to bring it to where they are, said the project co-producer Mati Kokavi, an Israeli high-tech billionaire who hails from a family of Holocaust victims, survivors, and educators, and they're on Instagram. Kokavi and his daughter Maya have created a series of 70 Instagram stories that chronicles the downward spiral of Eva Haman's life in the fateful spring of 1944, when the Nazis conquered Hungary. So they created this project. It was like telling the story of this girl going through the Holocaust, well, like during the time of the Holocaust, and their goal was to educate younger people on what happened and what her life might have been like. And so Angelika was not saying very nice things about this. She referred to it as disgusting, and she just didn't like it. She didn't like the project. She didn't speak about it nicely. And the thing is, if she doesn't like the project, obviously she can have her opinion. She can say, I don't think this is the right way to go about education. Like, it seems like people are making light of it. Whatever it is, she can have her opinion. But the real concern was the fact that she didn't look into it. She didn't do research on what the project was about, who created it, the fact that it was about Holocaust education and trying to teach people something, trying to teach the younger generation something. And so people commented on the video and were talking to Angelika, trying to explain to her, hey, like, you not doing research on this is very dismissive, and not understanding the purpose of it is not okay. And Angelika ignored some people and blocked others. So again, I feel like it's kind of one of those situations where you heard about something, you had an opinion on it, and you shared it, and it turns out that your opinion wasn't super well informed. What you could do is listen to the people who were upset, listen to the people who were hurt, and then apologize for it. But she didn't. So that's where those accusations are coming from. I figured it would be good to share that with you, because she definitely didn't address it. She then moved on to the fallout with Smokey Glow, where she kind of bounced around a little bit, but moved on again to the fallout with Smokey Glow, where she paraphrased and accused Smokey Glow of saying, people are telling me that you're being transphobic, but I spent an hour looking through the internet to see if you were transphobic and could not find anything, and I decided to go along with the story anyway. Which, Hannah has said, like, this is a gross misrepresentation of what I said. But again, if you watched the first stream that we did, or you watched Hannah's apology, Angelika doesn't want to share the screenshots, so those have not been shared. She then compared this to the James Charles situation, where Tati accused him of being a predator and everyone went along with it. Now, I want to speak about this delicately. I feel like the social consequences of a white woman being accused of transphobia and the social consequences of a gay man being accused of being a predator are very different. I feel like it's a lot more dangerous for that gay man to be accused of being a predator than it is for a white person to be accused of being transphobic. That's just, at least, you know, it could be different in other places. I don't know. But in America, like, those two accusations are very, very different. And so I didn't like that she said that. You know, there's already a problem with gay people being seen as sexual deviants by people who are just ignorant and old school and haven't, like, opened their brains enough. And so it's like, those two things are just very different to me. It's like she's trying to victimize herself by saying this is as bad as this thing that happened to James. And I'm totally on board with getting the facts and understanding your source and really taking into consideration what's true and what's not, and not jumping on the bandwagon to attack people. But again, I just think this comparison was in bad form. That's what I will say about it. She then moved on to say that she did call Smokey Glow a sheep, and then that Smokey Glow, I'm going to start calling her Hannah because this is a lot. Hannah started accusing her of gaslighting her when she was just preventing her from telling more lies, according to Angelika. And she really went in on trying to drive the point home that Smokey Glow apparently did not find proof, but was going to continue with the story anyway, even though Angelika was coming to her as a friend, trying to give her side. And this is something that Smokey Glow does address in her apology, so we will talk about it then. But basically, Smokey Glow said, like, it's not that she was going to run with the narrative, it's just that her first response was not adequate due to the new information she found out, considering the ignoring of Black people and not addressing the criticism fully, so she needed to update. And so in that situation, Hannah was saying, like, I'm not trying to turn against you, I'm not trying to, like, throw you under the bus, but my first response, like, my first pinned comment to this was not adequate in addressing the situation, so I need to update it, and we have to figure something out to try and make this right. So then she shifts the conversation more to criticism of Smokey Glow, of Hannah, and wondering if she only calls out bad behavior of her friends when she sees that she's getting criticism for it. She spoke about how she was liking negative comments about Manny MUA from 2 years ago, and now she's doing a collab with him, and she's like, why aren't more people upset about that? And then she also claimed that Smokey Glow deleted her video, giving her thoughts on Trisha Paytas' video about being transgender because people were calling her out for giving false information, and she just didn't want to address it. Angelika said, it's very telling that in her statement, she said she's urged me to address the situation because it's hurting minorities, which it definitely has, but she has urged me to address the situation, but she's not addressed this situation. She just deleted the video and moved on with her life. So in that, like, Hannah addresses it later, but in that instance, I don't know how much of a part, like, I don't know how much this belongs in your apology. This, to me, seems like blame shifting because you know the bigger drama channels are going to jump on it. They don't like Hannah, and so you know that if you put this out there, it's gonna get a lot of traction. And the thing is, like, if you're coming up for an apology, if you're coming on camera, just apologize, because a lot of people are going to see through that. A lot of people are going to see through you trying to shift that blame onto somebody else. She closed with an apology for the Kylie and Dixie situations and said that in order to hold other people accountable, you have to hold yourself accountable, and she's going to continue educating herself. So that's what we've got. That's what happened in her video, her apology. I'm going to go ahead and see what some of you guys are saying. Kona said, the Sovereign said something very smart the other day. There are two types of YouTubers, those who hold their own morals and are called holier than thou, or those willing to pull shady stuff behind the scenes. Yeah. Karsten said, it's awful that Angelika included this. It took away from any good point she had. Even if it's true or a good point, it's the wrong choice to make again. Yeah, absolutely. Arsena said, her getting choked up pissed me off. A white woman crying is fine. You got dumped, fine. You lost your job, fine. But you don't cry when someone points out you've hurt a marginalized community. Yeah. Yeah, I think, you know, for me, if you watch the first stream, you know I'm somebody, I get very emotional and I cry like twice a day, every day. Like I get very emotional. I feel things very deeply. And so I cry a lot. But I think you have to kind of try and temper it if you are somebody who's emotional. I don't know the last time I saw Angelika get emotional about something. And so it's like, when you see somebody crying and they're not known for being super emotional, it kind of gives you pause because you're wondering, is this genuinely like a reflection of your emotion, or are you using this as a tactic? Audrey said, this is about me. I'm trying to go up and see what you guys are talking about with comparing her situation to James Charles. And Audrey said, I don't think they're equivalent. It's a damaging stereotype for the gay community. Yeah. Kara said, white women want to be oppressed so badly from me, a white woman. Madison said, exactly, Angelika's accusations were socially looked down on when James Charles's accusations have legal ramifications tied to them. Both are horrible, but one could land a person in jail. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, so something that some of you guys have mentioned that I wanted to also just bring up as part of the conversation is that a few weeks ago, Dixie D'Amelio did a video dancing, like, with the Trisha Paytas, Dixie, Charli D'Amelio, all that drama. Dixie did a video dancing to Trisha Paytas saying the N-word, and Angelika covered it in one of her videos, and she said that you shouldn't use racially insensitive things people have said or done as a gotcha moment because it seems very opportunistic, and if you really cared, you would have called them out like when it was happening, or you would have called them out earlier. So it's like, you know, don't use this, don't use the pain of other people because other people are going to be hurt by you calling this out. Like, don't use it for your own gain or to make yourself look better. But then, what does Angelika do? She goes through Diana Plantana's tweets and finds one where she used the N-word back in 2013, as well as some other crass and racially insensitive things that were said a few years ago. And she screenshotted the N-word tweet, cropped out the date, tweeted it, and said, "This you?" ? And honestly, like, that trend really bothers me, but that's a whole different story. And people were really upset by this because it's like, you just said that you shouldn't be using past bad actions as a gotcha moment. Like, this isn't a joke. That, to me, like, that makes it seem like she does not care. She is willing to go through people's past tweets, bring this up, and use it to, like, tear somebody else down, like you're playing with the emotions of Black people. That's just what it feels like to me. Diana immediately said, like, yes, this was me. It sucks that this got, I'm paraphrasing, but like, it sucks that this got exposed because I know it's going to hurt a lot of my friends and people in the Black community. She posted videos apologizing and kind of explaining her journey through her racial identity and all of that. And of course, I can't say whether it was a good apology or not. I've seen some mixed reviews in the comments, but overall, in general, I'm seeing a lot of Black people saying, you know, I'm Black, I obviously can't speak for the Black community, but I accept your apology. So, you know, I would honestly look into it for yourself. And another thing that I kind of just wanted to bring up with this, because there have been, I've seen other people's like experiences where they've had like a negative experience with Diana, and obviously those tweets came out that a lot of people were hurt by. And I feel like it just kind of goes to show you that not everybody who speaks for, like, who sticks up for people or speaks for something important or is like a good presence on the internet right away, like, they're not somebody to be put on a pedestal. They're not somebody to be looked at in a way of like, this is the person who's gonna put an end to all of the BS on the internet. Because I feel like this kind of happens sometimes where injustice happens or something bad happens, and then somebody comes up and speaks out against it or wants to educate people on it, and then everybody turns to them and kind of gets attached in a certain way, if that makes sense. And then when it comes out that they did something insensitive in the past, or they did something bad in the past, or they hold a belief that is fundamentally different from you, it's kind of this big letdown, and people get really hurt by it. And it reminds me of the Emily D. Baker situation. If you don't know, Emily D. Baker is a lawyer who talks a lot about the Without a Crystal Ball lawsuit. And before this happened, I don't know how many subscribers she had before, but when I watched her first video, she had about 5,000 subscribers. People saw her speaking about it and immediately flocked to her channel. She gained tens of thousands of subscribers. She started doing merch, like selling it. People were grabbing it so quick, and everybody was like putting her up on this pedestal because she was educated and could speak about this situation. And then people found really upsetting clips of her talking about Breonna Taylor and what happened, and it was really disappointing to hear, absolutely, but it kind of tore that little community apart as well. And so I just think it's important to remember nobody's perfect, and all we can do is try to be better every single day and speak out for the things that are important to us and that we want to see improve and get better. Kona said, Angelika seems to get in trouble for a lot of liking shady tweets now that I think about it. A lot of her dramas have an incident where Angelika likes something and people see it. Right. People know, like, you know that she's looking, or she has to know that other people are looking at the tweets that she's liked, because this has happened multiple times. Arsena said, y'all know she had to type in the N-word to find those tweets. She said with her whole chest, I'm racist, but so are you. Gosh, I just don't understand, like, the thought of doing that. Like, of wanting to be like, let me see if I can find if this person said that. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Mivana said, I'm really disappointed because I used to enjoy AO's content. She always seems so sensible, but now... Yeah, and I think it's different when you see her on YouTube versus on, like, on Twitter. Because on YouTube, you get a very limited idea of who somebody is or how they might be behind the scenes. But then you see people on Twitter and you kind of see really a little bit more of a relaxed version of them. And you see them blocking people or maybe putting out not so nice tweets, calling people out, liking tweets about it. Rasan 2011 said, I will never require perfection, just change and growth for the better. I'm also going to look at the way you handle certain issues that come up. Yeah, and I think that's the perfect way to kind of look at things. Is obviously nobody's perfect. That's just literally impossible. It is impossible to be perfect, but as long as you try and you have, for me, what's important is that you have integrity and that you stick to your guns. Like, if you tell me you're a certain type of person, okay, I believe you, but also prove it. Like, stand by what you say you stand for. Kaylin said, isn't it wild how meta this is? Commentary channels commenting on commentary channels. Yeah, it really is. Belinda Paul said, re Emily D. Baker, not just Breonna Taylor. Her vids are full of super shady comments. I don't know. I mean, the thing is, like, I saw, like, a good portion of her. This isn't even about what we're talking about. Okay, let me just say this real quick. With Emily, I watched her first few videos about Without a Crystal Ball, and I know that this is kind of hypocritical, but for me, it was just like a lot of long live streams, and I was like, I can't watch all of these. I'll watch a few, but I can't watch all of them. But I still saw so many people just flocking to her and growing super quickly, and I think that's kind of a risk when you grow super quickly, is that you get support without people necessarily having a chance to know who you are, and so they might find something like those disappointing, upsetting comments on Breonna Taylor, and they're gonna turn really quickly too. Kaylin said, everyone reading this, please like the video. B forgot to mention it. I'm sorry. Thank you, Kaylin. Yes, please like it if you're in here. Darneville said, I enjoy Emily's content, but choose not to watch when she talks about politics. She can give off, well, you gotta listen to the wrong side to really understand, and I just don't jive with that. Yeah. Moon said, no one is perfect, but how you handle situations, right your wrongs, and grow is what matters. Absolutely. Okay, so Laura said, at this point, we all have demons in our closet, and I think it's wrong because we're seeing that no one is truly pure. Yeah. Like I always say, we've all done things. We've all been mean to somebody or snapped at somebody or said something rude or been ignorant about something, and it's really about moving forward and educating yourself and understanding, like, why you said that mean thing or why you had that belief and being better in the future. But moving on from that to Smokey Glow's video. So she posted hers on 12/14/2020. It is an hour and 3 minutes long, called Giving My Perspective, Angelika Oles, Drama Channels, and More. She started off by saying that she would be matching Angelika Oles' donations, so 500 and 500 to the NAACP, as well as the Marsha P. Johnson Institute, 500, because that's what Angelika said that she was going to be doing. And she spoke about how back in August, she had spoken to Angelika about the tweet that said, quote, so most POC in my mentions are super understanding and just want to see me learn. And then the whites are literally harassing me. Do you see the issue of your allyship? Somebody asked, what happened, boo? And then Angelika responded with, I didn't realize all the problematic things Kylie has done, so spoke about it in an ignorant way, which I then cut out of the video and apologized for. So that's like kind of how Angelika presented it to most people. And then obviously Smokey Glow DM'd her and asked kind of what was going on. They had a little bit of a conversation, and Hannah said she thought it was odd people were giving her crap because you can't be expected to know everything about everybody. Apparently the conversation went on, and Smokey Glow approved of Angelika blocking people if they were attacking her. We also find out that one of the people at the time that Angelika had blocked was Diana, and then Hannah had also muted Diana around the same time because she had tweeted, I really hope other YouTubers like Smokey Glow and Samantha Ravindall take note of the comments under this video and do some self-reflection. I'm noticing a problem with white women commentators and the Kardashianers, and I'm not going to ignore it. So Hannah had just muted her at that point, and that was kind of the end of their conversation. They didn't really talk for the next few months, but their next conversation was about Glowmas, and Hannah had asked Angelika to collab with her for Glowmas. They did it, and people were upset automatically, and initially Hannah said she didn't think it was about the Kylie situation, so she pinned a comment saying she would look into it because my notes are AO, because Angelika was sleeping and could not respond, so she wanted her audience to know that she was hearing them. After that, she issued her first statement, which read, let's pull this up. Sorry, I have a bunch of pictures of like banana bread on here. So, her first statement read, just wanted to do a quick update. This was after her first like pinned comment saying she was going to look into it. This was her actual like statement on it. Just wanted to do a quick update. After talking to Angelika and getting a better picture on the situation, I feel like I have a pretty good idea about what happened. I feel like Angelika genuinely does understand the mistake she made and has tried to address it the best she could. I apologize to anyone who felt offended by things she said, and I don't feel it's my place as a white woman to tell you how to feel about the situation. I will say that after talking to her and looking into things, I'm seeing a lot of misinformation being spread about her that I am not okay with. As far as I can tell, Angelika has never done anything transphobic. Comments perpetuating this narrative with no evidence are harmful to the LGBTQIA+ community as they distract from actual instances of transphobia happening online. So while I don't agree with all of her past actions, I do think she has grown and learned from all of these situations. I think Angelika is a great content creator and a good friend. That's why I asked her to do this collab in the first place. And obviously, that's not a good statement. That's not a good response. Hannah knows this. She apologized for it and said she just put it out there because she wanted to believe and stick up for her friend. But she was also kind of genuinely scared about the reaction to the situation because she didn't want to get called a flip-flopper, and she knew that people were going to bring up the Christmas party situation, so she was scared. And she also said that she had to kind of like title herself as a hypocrite because she discovered that Angelika had been in the DMs of people. We talked about this in the last video, manipulating that underage fan who left the comment on the stream in regards to the Kylie situation. And, obviously in that whole situation, Angelika said, oh, I'd addressed it, but she actually hadn't. And she kind of went back and forth on how much of the comment she had read, if she read it at all, if it was her friend reading it, and all of that stuff. So she's like, I'm totally like a hypocrite because if somebody else did that, like I would have called them out for it, but I didn't. Like I didn't pay attention because Angelika's my friend. She then also clarified that she pointed out she couldn't find concrete proof of Angelika being transphobic, so she could not comment on it. And this was kind of a counterpoint to Angelika's statement that Hannah couldn't find instances of transphobia, but she was going to run with that narrative anyway to protect herself, which I don't think Hannah ran with that narrative. And if we read her second statement, it's pretty clear that she didn't. This is kind of long, so bear with me. Let me adjust. So Hannah's second statement about this whole situation is, I posted this on Twitter, but also wanted to post it here. This was on her community tab. The next sentence. I wanted to post this on the community tab because I wanted to make sure my stance on this was clear, and I also wanted a place where I could really communicate with you guys about what happened and my horrible response to it. I want to thank you guys again for always holding me accountable and for pushing me to be better. I really want to encourage anyone who was hurt to have a conversation with me here because I always want to try and learn from my mistakes. I want to apologize to everyone who I hurt over the past 2 days. I have made a lot of mistakes that have resulted in many of you being disappointed in me, and for that, I am sorry. This August, I was aware that Angelika had gotten into some drama, but wasn't aware of the full scope of what happened. I didn't take the time to properly look into everything because Angelika was a friend, and I trusted her word on the issue. That was a mistake, and upon reflection, I definitely treated her differently because she was my friend. I asked Angelika to be part of Glomus, and once our video was posted, I saw a lot of comments that Angelika had been microaggressive, had ignored and blocked comments trying to educate her, and that she handled criticism very poorly. Again, upon reflection, I see now that I treated the situation differently because Angelika was my friend. If this had been any other creator, I absolutely would have called them out for this behavior in the first place. Because Angelika was my friend, I gave her the benefit of the doubt when talking to her about these situations and pinned a comment yesterday that defended her actions. After seeing the response to that comment, I realized I still didn't know the full story and needed to look into things more. Last night, I spoke to multiple different creators and accounts collecting information and watching videos on the situation, and after hearing different perspectives, I've decided I can no longer support Angelika or the collaboration we did together. I have encouraged Angelika to make a video addressing these issues herself, but I'm not sure if she will do that, and I can't control her actions, only my own. I am sorry that I have failed to hold my friends accountable to the same standards I hold other creators to. I know that an apology is not always enough, but I hope with my actions I can show you guys that I will do better in the future regarding these situations. So that was her second one. A lot of people were more happy with that one than the first one, obviously, because it showed that Hannah had taken the time to understand what people were being critical of Angelika for, and she actually was listening to her audience who said that they had been hurt by Angelika's actions. So a lot of people liked that one a lot better. And she did confirm that she said, it's true, I told her I would not take the heat for her. And really, she said this because, like, she felt that way because she's like, you didn't tell me the full story at first. You haven't addressed this. Like, you kind of intentionally misled me about the seriousness of the situation. And now that we've done a collab, you want me to put my feet to the fire, but you're going to avoid it. Like, you're not going to come out and talk about it. You're not really going to take accountability for blocking people who were trying to explain to you why you hurt them and why you hurt their community. So she was like, yeah, like, I don't think I should have to take the heat for this. If I was your friend, you wouldn't put me in the situation in the first place. Like, you would have been honest with me about what happened. So I can't say that I disagree with that. If somebody misled me and then expected me to, like, take the blame for them, I'd probably be pretty upset too. So she moved on to say that she's upset the conversation is more about if she's a bad friend than the things that Black people and people of color have been upset with since August. And she moved on to address the infamous Christmas party. So before we get into that, I'm going to see what some of you guys are talking about. Bailey said, people's first response isn't necessarily the best representation of someone. People put way too much pressure on content creators to never make a mistake, but how terrifying must it be? Yeah, I think that's a really good point, and I think it was Sharita from Sharita Explains It All who said, people want a response immediately. So, like, it makes sense that Hannah felt like, okay, shoot, I have to say something right away, and then went back and thought, that's a bad thing. Like, this was not a good response. I need to fix it and listen to my audience, you know? Kona said, people need to start making the differentiation that they enjoy a content creator versus they love a content creator. It can seem like a semantic difference. However, if you just enjoy content and avoid celebrity worship, your opinion will be taken more seriously versus someone defending a creator while their social feeds are covered with statements of, I stan this creator. Yeah. Laura said, if I'm being real, none of these people are racist to me. I think they're just ignorant and don't understand. Yeah. Vasim Singh said it's a genuine apology. I mean, I think that the wording, whatever, like, to me, I think you can kind of tell people's intent over their words sometimes when they're putting out an apology. And I think Hannah did do the work of trying to figure out what actually had happened and was listening to her audience. And so obviously the apology is not for me, but in terms of, like, my personal bias is I don't watch, like, both of them exclusively. Like, I don't watch every single video they put out, but I do enjoy both of their content. And so for me, like, if I see a content creator I like involved in some kind of mess, I want to see that they're taking the appropriate actions and they're having the appropriate response to listen to the people who are upset and not just being super dismissive. So for me, I did like that she took a second to go back and actually try and figure out what had happened. Courtney said, a good example, in my opinion, of a first response not being the best is James Charles's first response to the Tati video last year. It was terrible, and his second video was a lot better and more well received. Yeah, definitely. Kona said, Angelika criticized Dixie a week and a half prior for trying to make things who's more racist, and that's why her actions on Twitter were such an issue for many. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, so moving on to the Christmas party. She talked about how she doesn't think Petty Page deserved the hate that she got for what she said in Houston, and that she knew that Petty Page was going through a tough time right now, so she didn't really want to address her in this. She's like, I want to let her have her time. Like, I don't want to come for her right now. I'm mainly addressing Rich Lux, Dustin Daly, and Nick Snyder. And in referring to the party that happened in Houston last year, she initially wasn't sure if she wanted to go, since she would be meeting like new people in person that she hadn't met before, and she was kind of intimidated by the bigger drama channels, but she ended up knowing a few people who were going to be going, so she decided to go. Then the day before Thanksgiving, screenshots of Rich Lux using the N-word came out, and he was tweeting about how people were just trying to cancel him again. And none of his friends obviously spoke about the situation publicly, which made Hannah mad, and she knew that Rich Lux and Nick Snyder were close, and she decided that she didn't want to go. Now, obviously, Hannah did not talk to Nick personally before making a video announcing that she wasn't going. She did say that she feels like, she admits now that she probably should have told Nick privately before making her video, but at the time, she did not feel like she owed that to him, and she kind of explained, like, initially, the invitation was sent privately, so it was kind of a private matter, but then at one point, Hannah was on a live stream, Nick donated like $20 and was like, everybody bully Hannah into coming to my party, and so she's like, well, he made it public, it was publicly known that I was going, so that's why I did it the way that I did it. And then she also said that Nick DM'd her the day the video went up and essentially said, hey, no hard feelings, like, you made some good points and the invitation is still open if you change your mind. She said that she was super relieved when that happened, but really confused a few weeks later when Petty Page said that they were mad at her for that, because if Nick was mad, he should something at the time. And it's funny because Nick made a video about this and was like, why would I do that? You just, talked badly about me in public. Why would I take the time to tell you that you hurt my feelings? No, I'm not going to do that. But Nick, I don't want to be mean. Nick kind of always brags about how he's super real and he tells it like it is, and that's why people like him. And so to me, I don't think you telling her, oh, no hard feelings, invitation's still open, if you were actually mad, is being real. If it made you mad, I feel like you should have told her. You should have been like, that was really rude. But I don't know. I do think it's kind of shady that he would tell her, oh, no hard feelings, and then actually be upset in the background. But whatever. That has kind of begun the narrative that Smokey Glow gets close to people only to betray them when it fits her. And the ironic part about that Hannah pointed out is that they weren't even close before the party situation happened. Nick was the one who invited her. They'd had very few actual personal interactions, and so she's like, we weren't even friends. We knew each other. We were in the same community on YouTube, but I didn't know you guys. I didn't get close to you in order to turn on you. That's just not how it happened. Ooh. Are we buffering, guys? Are we good? Ooh. Flying Sheep said, I feel like the Nick, Dustin, Rich stuff should have been a different video. Yeah. I mean, I think she could have done it separately. It kind of would have made sense to split them up, but I also think she kind of just wanted to put it all out there in one. All right, are we okay, guys? Are we back to no longer buffering? Let me know. Thank you, Kona, for explaining that we're about to hit the hour mark. I didn't realize that we were that close to an hour. Are we good? Are we good? Let me know. Okay, Dark Lily said we're good. Bob said better. Okay. Cool. All right, we are all good. Let's go ahead and kind of power through this. I just have like a little bit left. So thank you guys for letting me know. If it happens again, at me, like at B Haney, so that way I can see it right away. So moving on, she said, like, you know, now that, okay, I'm sorry, like that like flustered me, but she said she doesn't understand like why they can't let it go. And she also said that she feels justified in calling that group of people bullies. And she kind of cited the situation with Urfmova, where Urfmova had created a video talking about the flaws of like the current kind of clique of people in the commentary, and I guess they're not really commentary, like the drama community. Paige is kind of commentary, it's irrelevant, but like that group of friends, Urfmova had created a video being like, I don't like you guys and this is why. And Smokey points out that at the time she had less than 1,000 subscribers, and all of those bigger creators, you know, Dustin, Rich, I always want to say Nyx, like Rich Lux, Nick, Dustin Daily, Petty Page, like they all had over 100,000 subscribers at the time, so they really shouldn't have been so upset about this video. Like if it had hit the algorithm at the exact right point in time, maybe it would have blown up, but realistically, they got that video more traffic because they were upset about it. And she also cites Dustin Daily fat shaming and name calling women. She said, I know you guys are going to be real upset because you can't make 16 other, or you can't make a bunch of 11-minute videos with 16 ads on them. Okay, audio is messing up. No! I'm not sure why this is happening. Thank you all of Thunderbird for tagging me on it. Give me like a thumbs up emoji if it's okay now. I really need to get better about like keeping track of my time, because that's ridiculous that this keeps happening. Okay, cool. So let's wrap this up. She also said that she was declining to speak about the Jen Loves reviews. And I see you guys talking about the video, how it's kind of lagging. As long as the audio is good, we'll go ahead and finish it up. So yeah, if we lose audio, let me know. But sometimes that's just how it is with YouTube. The video goes out. So she didn't want to speak about the Jen Loves reviews situation because she didn't want to bring her into it. And she actually pointed out that the drama channels who accuse her of getting close to people only to turn on them for her own benefit also have a pattern of behavior of doing this, such as Nick with Ashley Kyle and T by Allie, and Dustin with John Cookian, Peter Mon, and Rich Lux. And it's really interesting that like Dustin had been like, yeah, I turned on John Cookian. Would you rather I have not? Like, would you rather me not call him out for his problematic behavior? And it's like, no, that's totally fine. But like Smokey Glow didn't want to go to the party because Rich had gotten called out for saying the N-word and wasn't sorry. Like, was just upset that people were trying to cancel him. And so it's like, you found out something fundamentally that you disagreed with about John Cookian and you disavowed him. Like, that's what she's doing. So it's like, you can find reasons that it's justified for you to talk about friendships publicly, but when Hannah notices a problem in somebody that she's interacting with in some capacity, and she finds out something like that, she can't do the same. Just odd. She went into closing by saying that she feels justified in her decisions since she chose to uplift other communities instead of trying to silence them to protect my friends. And she also kind of she's like, I don't know why I have to address this, but basically in regards to liking comments about Manny and James, she's like, those two things, those incidents were 2 years ago about Manny. And she's like, in that time, I've seen growth and I've seen a change in behavior from Manny. And so I think it's okay to not like somebody and think their behavior is wrong at one point, and then if they change it and they improve over time, to give them a second chance. So that's what she said about Manny. And then when it came to James, she was like, so many people thought that Tati was a credible source. That's who we were listening to. That's why we gave it merit. And we've since found out that, like, that's obviously not true, and she was giving out some false information. But she said, like, I just can't go back and unlike every comment I liked at that time. So that was her explanation for that. And then in regard to her video about Trisha Paytas, the one that is no longer able to be found on her video, she said that she gave some false information or a false definition of some terms in that video. And at the time, people had kind of called her out in her comment section, and she had responded to them, and she thought that she had addressed it appropriately, and the video had been up after that. Like, she didn't go back to the video, she left it up, and then one day her mom had called her and said, I don't think this video is a good video. You know, you're giving wrong information, like wrong definitions of things. And also, since Hannah wants to be a social worker, she's like, somebody that you could be working with in the future might see this video and not feel comfortable with you because they might be afraid that you'll be dismissive of their identity. And so Hannah rewatched it and decided to put it on private, but she did put the link in her description box of her apology for anybody who wants to see it and see what was actually said. She's like, I wasn't trying to hide anything. I was just trying to take something away that could have been potentially hurtful. So that is what she said. And her final thought was she needs to own her mess. She's not mad that these things have been brought up, but she also thinks that Angelika bringing them up in her apology is purely to shift blame onto Hannah instead of like fully sitting with her own wrongdoing, taking accountability and trying to do better. It's just, yeah, I did this, but look at what Hannah did. So that is pretty much it. I'm gonna read a few of your comments before I have to go, because I know we hit that hour. We hit that hour and things are gonna fall apart. Moonmaid said, Nick trying to make this about him, though, is gross. Taking this away from people of color is not okay. Yeah, I feel like they're using this as an opportunity to, like, drag Hannah because they don't like her. And it's like, get over it. Honestly. Get over it. Y'all are adults. Like, you're grown. It was okay for, like, a week, maybe, to be mad that she had done that publicly. But there's nothing she can do about it now. Like, it was done. It happened. It didn't hurt any of them. What actually hurt them, I feel like, was the live stream that happened at that party. Also, this is just kind of like a side note. Nick's like, well, we all talk in private. Like, we call each other out in private. And if you don't think that I do that, like, you don't know me by now, then that's on you. And it's like, okay, but also you work in social media. Like, you may have that thought of, well, I support my friends in public and I call them out in private, and I think that that's okay. But if y'all were upset with Rich and you were actually calling him out in private, you have to know how social media works to where people are going to want to know that you did that. To where you can say, hey, I'm not going to talk about this publicly, but I want you to know that I'm aware of what Rich has done. I don't agree with it, and we're talking about it behind the scenes. I think that would have been so much easier. Kona said, LMAO, Hannah embarrassed them by saying to the internet, I don't want to go to this party with the cool kids, right? Laura Blackwell said, Tati, I wish she'd admit her intent instead of passing blame. I think it's common with influencers. All of them do it. Yeah, nobody wants to say that, like, nobody wants to say they messed up. Nobody wants to admit to being the bad guy in a situation because it sucks. Like, being the one who messed up is not fun. But I think it's better in the long run if they can actually admit that they did it. Like, if they did something wrong, it's going to be better in the long run, not only for them, but to make their audience feel like they can trust that creator. All right. Dang, so we're just like, we're glitching all over the place. I'm going to have to go ahead and cut the stream off, but that's basically what happened in both of their apologies. As a reminder, I did do a video talking about kind of what led up to this, what Angelika actually did. So I will put a link to the video talking about kind of what led up to this, what Angelika to that in the pinned comment down below. Yeah, I really wish that we could have like more of a conversation, like a follow-up conversation about all of this, but I don't want to force you guys to sit through something that is buffering too badly. So, I'm going to read like 1 or 2 more comments and then let you go. As long as the audio is okay, I'll read 1 or 2 more. Kona said, I wouldn't say that Hannah is dismissive of those with different opinions. I just think she doesn't have the energy to argue with people she knows the combo will go nowhere with. Laura said, quote, I did this, but you did that, end quote. And Hannah, I don't think she's wrong for doing what she's doing, and I'm glad she's holding them accountable. Angelika needs to give another apology video. Yeah, I mean, ugh, I don't, like, for me, I don't know if another apology video right now would even be good. Like, I just don't think she's at that point where she understands really what the problem is, because this is like a common pattern of her doing something and then people being upset and her not giving, like, not actually caring about what people are upset about and taking it into consideration and trying to be better. So until she learns that, I don't think a good response is going to come out of it for her. But in any case, streaming, I'm going to go ahead and let you all go. Thank you so much for watching. If you would consider liking this video, there's only 94 likes and 235 of you in here. So if you like the video, give it a like. If you want to have more conversations about stuff like this, open conversations where we can share our opinions in a respectful way, because I do this every Tuesday at 4:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time and most Thursdays at the same time. Thank you if you're subscribed already. I'm very appreciative of you, and I love being able to just sit here, hang out with you, and talk about whatever. With all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. Please be kind to people, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.